right, thank you so much for bringing us back. And in case you're just joining us, it's today's edition of the program, Morning Ride. And I'm afraid we might not be able to get you um, the soft copies of our dailies for today. But however, we'll shop online and see how we do the little that we can and Sarah updating you through any means of our communication.
All right, so starting off still online, we have the Punch newspaper this morning, and we have the major headline on the Punch: Dangote refinery, others may import $1.4 billion crude monthly. And we have Wike camp dismisses Atiku coalition, woes PDP big wigs. Obasanjo, Kuka, others allege Nigeria's democracy failing. And power generators fear collapse over 4.7 trillion naira debt. And latest news coming in from the Punch: mentally unstable man stabs 25-year-old to death in Niger State. And Rivers head of service resigns as sole administrator appoints new SSG. Samsung co-CEO Han Jong-hee dies at 63. And thunderstorm sparks fire, sacks Ekiti pupils. 3 killed in French plateau ambush, and 5 charged in false allegation against Lagos monarch. Police intercept 488 AK-47 rifles, arrest 2,000 suspects. And depot owners condemn Naira for crude deal. And FG clamps down on fake name card producers. I won't be forced into submission, Natasha denies apology claims. And field Navy North candidate for Anambra by-election, group tells parties. APC PDP stalwart involved in coalition to oust Tinubu, says Otome. And Enugu PDP hails Supreme Court for affirming party supremacy. And that's it on the Punch newspaper this morning. Stories making the headlines. Okay, away from the Punch newspaper this morning, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper headline this morning as they come in.
Okay, as they come in, the Nation newspaper this morning, government raises 2,400 naira, 2,400 special forces to battle bandits and terrorists. 250,000 people sign up, recall on Natasha. And 9 out of 12 fleeing Kofa Carefree prison inmates recaptured, says Correctional Center. Presidency falls, obese democracy has collapsed, remark. Breaking, Rivers head of service resigns. New SSG appointed. Police arrest 4 over 277.8 million naira bank fraud. 5 Uniosu students and others die in road accidents. I think that is the best. We can go, but we'll just take this very last one. Richard Dominic denies obstructing reporters in Ghana.
Okay, we'll still come back to some of the stories and take them as they come. We also have this day newspaper this morning. Obasanjo, democracy has failed in Africa. Obi, it's collapsing in Africa. Okay. And we have here Idris, Tinubu will lift emergency rule in rivers as soon as normalcy is restored. But you know, he declared it for 6 months, so I don't know if he will likely lift it when normalcy returns. We don't even know
Well,
what
but at least it
his
must.
definition of normalcy.
Yeah, but it because the whole process is being rejigged now. Rejigged in the sense that you can see what's happening. The head of service has resigned. A new SSD has been reappointed. You know, and that tells you that the whole process has to be rejigged. You know, and you cannot do all of this in 2 weeks.
Okay.
You cannot do what you have by way of knowledge in 3 weeks either.
That's true.
You know, so I think if there's a need for them to lift up the suspension at all, it might be after Christmas. You
After
know,
Christmas.
yes. When
To
it
lift
would
the
have-
suspension.
when it have-
That's
when-
like well over 6 months.
when it must have outlived the traditional 6 months.
Okay, away from that, NIMC initiates manhunt for printers of unauthorized name cards. Chatham House, Nigeria's failure to curb corruption leading to impunity, clientelism. And SEC commits to financial education inclusion for children and youth. DSTV, Nigerians pay lower subscriptions than South Africans, says NGO. And in politics, Okwebolo moves to attract federal presence in Edo. And Anambra 2025 as parties prepare for April Guber primary. Oh wow. Rivers state of emergency, who is now PDP's national secretary, Abdusalam Imike, and June 13, state of emergency in Rivers, dangers of political betrayal and unconstitutional interventions, pitfalls in Tinubu's emergency rule in Rivers, and Erifai's inglorious mission against Tinubu. All right. Okay, that's for this day newspaper. And lastly, let's look at Vanguard newspaper this morning. Democracy not working in Nigeria. Obasanjo, Obi, Tambuwa, Kuka. And 2027, finding alternative political party, our main hurdle, anti-Tinubu coalition. How 12 inmates escape in Kogi jailbreak. Manufacturing supply chain leaders sweat on Trump trade policies. And Governor Mba Oke's promotion conversion of 2061 civil servants. Alleged defamatory remarks. Okwebolo demands apology from 2 PDP chieftains. And 9 children still missing after attack on Akwa Ibom community youth. 3 ambushed, killed in Plateau community. And 2027, finding alternative political party, our main hurdle. And DSTV, Nigerians pay lower subscriptions than South Africans. Naira depreciates to 1,585 per dollar in parallel markets. And democracy not working in Nigeria. Justice again didn't follow Wike to Calabasas Supreme Court. And LP crisis trouble for Abure as caretaker renews prosecution bid. 2027, PDP board rejects demands reversal of Rivers emergency rule, and Yoruba elders to Tinubu armed herdsmen killing our people. All right, let's talk about the statement from both. What's it called now? Goodluck Jonathan and Goodluck Jonathan and Peter Obi, saying that democracy not working. Obasanjo said that. We also have Peter Obi's stake. We have the ex-president. No, both of, in fact, 2 of them are ex-president of Nigeria. Democracy has failed in Nigeria because it's not African, says ex-president. Everything has been knocked down, says Obi. actors don't play by the rules, says Tamboa. Now, the former president Olusegun Obasanjo Peter Obi, the Labour Party candidate, presidential candidate in 2023 election, Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Kuka, and Aminu Tamboa, the former governor of Sokoto State, yesterday expressed concerns that democracy was not working in Nigeria. Now, the leaders who spoke at the 60th birthday celebration of former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives of Nigeria, Emeka Ihedioha, stressed the need for urgent reforms to address the country's challenges. So, when the state of emergency state of emergency was declared in Rivers State, so many persons or people came out to say, this is unconstitutional. Why did Mr. President do that? Why did he do this? And they're still talking about it even till now. We're hearing so many things, happening in Rivers State as we speak. But then the ex-president, our two foremost presidents, President Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan, saying that, democracy is not working. But others believe that it's a work in progress. What's your take, though?
Yeah, both speakers, virtually everybody who has spoken to that conversation have actually kicked against it by saying the president exercised so much powers, in doing that ordinarily it's not even within his constitutional purview to suspend, the governor, and also do same to the House of Assembly members. Somehow the school of thought that it had gotten to the president, it was almost forced down his throat, for him to exercise that power. That Rivers State was like sitting on a keg of gunpowder, just waiting to explode. And that suspension just came in at the right time to kind of cool down the tempers of. But you see, again, we should not forget also in a hurry that when Rivers, when in 2004 or so, my memory can take me back, when Joshua Dariye had a similar problem in the north, who is having clashes every now and then. There was definitely no week that we were not, on the know of one war, one problem in Jos. And the president, Obasanjo, then used his veto power to place a state of emergency in Jos and removed Joshua Dariye as governor. A lot of heads to said, no, Mr. President did do it right. And here we are again in 2025. The same thing. But for me, Rivers State hadn't got into that level.
Exactly.
Rivers State hadn't got into that level. Apart from the pockets of explosion that you had here and there, which is normal. Because when the coroner's investigation, they found that probably some people who blew those pipelines actually wanted to make a statement. You understand? To prove that probably they were stronger or there were demands that need to be met. But I am very convinced that it never had anything
to do with
the state of what Rivers State people were actually going through. So I still believe that Mr. President within his powers, do the needful. You don't need to wait for 6 months.
So I did not understand why he went on to declare state of emergency without getting the approval from the Senate, from the Senate. And it was after the state of emergency was declared that he sought for approval, and of course, which was eventually approved by House of Rep, House of Senate, and people were also coming down to say that, see, they paid them so amount of monies just so they can or could approve that declaration. I don't know. Do you think that money exchanged hands?
Well, there's no smoke without the fire. Because if you see the chambers, right? They needed to have 2/3 majority to accept. And if you see what is in the house, APC, which is the ruling party, they don't have total dominion. They have those who are on the opposition that can also outnumber them. If you noticed what they did not. They didn't do vote. They didn't count their votes.
No, they did a yes and a nay.
Yeah, it was a voice
vote.
vote. And most of the times, it's the same people who say nay. We should be the same people.
I didn't even hear a nay, or maybe the nay was silenced because I didn't hear a nay. I heard a resounding yea.
Yes, there was a resounding yeah, and you see, anything can happen. There was a particular senator who also came out and said, I can't sky, okay, is it from the east now? That 10 million US dollars was paid to 42 of the senators.
I guess those were the people that allegedly that the yay was actually very louder.
And with a $10,000 US yay can take 10 people's voice.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So it look as if it was the entire.
Yeah.
But the question I asked was, were there proofs?
That's it.
But for a senator.
But recall when the senator was. This is not in line with what we're talking about. But I remember when the Senate president was newly elected, and he said something, and we're going to send you this one into your prayer. No, he later changed it to prayers.
It's not prayers.
He later changed it to prayers.
Yes. What prayers? Well, he carelessly, flippantly.
Yes.
Just reels that out.
Yes.
So when we've had cases of that magnitude,
right.
So we cannot rule anything out of a senator. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. All right. Away from that now, Rivers State, I just pray that they settle their differences early enough. And I'm hoping that Mr. President lifts the suspension and allow Mr. Governor to carry on. Before you know it, 4 years is already here. This is the time that he should have been, rallying, drumming support for his second tenure. That is if his godfather would allow him. But he doesn't have that time to even, put his ass together to vie for any second tenure right now. Because clearly, it's not easy. It's not guru for him. It has never been. So
it has never been, right from the few weeks
that he
got into power.
Exactly. So
it's been, and you see, this is the same Wike who when the issue of godfatherism, was kept popping up his head. So no to godfatherism, trying to disabuse the minds of people between Obaseki and Oshomole.
Right.
Years back. And now he's still the same person that is neck deep into godfatherism and all of that. Well, they say you can't rule out godfatherism in politics. and it's a fact. So
fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed.
All right. Mentally unstable man stabs 25-year-old to death in Niger. This is from the human angle, so I want to read it. The Niger State Police Command has arrested a man, Mubarak, suspected to be mentally unstable, for stabbing a 25-year-old man, Shashim, to death. The incident took place on Sunday evening in the Kwangila area of Mina, the state capital, when Mubarak was said to have engaged Dashiru in a fisticuffs during which he allegedly stabbed him in the chest. He was rushed to the nearby Mina General Hospital where he was confirmed dead on arrival. The residents who said they did not know what caused the fight, however, said they always saw Mubarak in the street moving from place to place, scavenging resident refuse containers. And it was reported that one Mubarak, who is suspected of insanity and also scavenging around Kwangila, had a fight with a passerby of the same. And I'm wondering why a sane human being would, go into a fight with somebody who you see or know that this person is mentally unstable. And
Yeah, he caused it to himself.
And then I cannot
He caused it
imagine
to himself, even when they pleaded to
provocation.
him. Even when they pleaded to him, from that video that went viral, they pleaded and they said, no, he carried a bottle. That was, and I was watching, and they really went into a physical fight, and in the process,
Does that?
we saw what happened. The guy who was mentally stable now died.
The one that is unstable.
He survived.
So, I mean, why am I reading this out? We need to be very. It is not all the fight that you engage in, especially at this time. You don't know who is alive. You don't know who is
Gone. Not
or
almost
gone
gone.
even. So just a push, a little push, and just send that person to the exile.
And once you just push on that person and the person falls down, there's no escape for you.
That's manslaughter.
They'll just tell you carry your load.
That's it.
That's the level bearer.
That's it.
The owner of the load carry it.
All right. So we'll take another quick break, and then when we come back, we go straight to the interview cut this month. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right, you all to Morning Ride, Tuesday's edition, and we're almost joined, or rather, we are being joined with a woman who, in a few minutes, I know she has quite a lot to talk about. But this time around, for today, we just box out with a call and let's share her experience. I'm talking of no other person there, Ambassador Udoka Anita Ikebua. She is a founder, part a girl, and mentor to the Elumelu Foundation. We're looking at the topic dealing with childhood trauma as an adult. Yes, Udoka, welcome to our studio.
So welcome, Udoka, Ambassador Udoka. First of all, I must say congratulations for being nominated or selected as one of the TEF Tony Lumelu Foundation mentor.
Thank
So
you.
how is it going? That's a big deal, you know.
Yes, it is. It's going fine. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so
congratulations.
before we get to crux of discourse this morning, can you just tell us a little bit of your description as a mentor in the Tony Elumelu Foundation and how it has to do with your project, Part a Girl?
Yeah, okay. Basically, Party Girl Foundation, what we do in Party Girl Foundation, we, aside this donation of sanitary products, reusable, disposable, and all that, we also teach and talk about period policy. We're trying to get a period policy. We also, the world is moving into tech.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the girls involved in tech. So we do so many things. We have the Padbox project, etc. So for the Tony Elumelu Foundation thing, becoming a mentor in Tony Elumelu, we all know that Tony Elumelu, what he does is he brings in entrepreneurs. He put them together in one box, trying to bring out the best in them. And after that section, they give them a package of about $5,000 US. So as a mentor, they try to ensure that all people, all the people that are in the foundations, entrepreneurs in the foundation, have someone or persons, because it's in very, we have the education, and for we in Party Girl Foundation, we are in the educational sector.
Okay.
We interface with that system a lot, coupled with the fact that we are also going into policy and all that. So the scope of Tony Elumelu does not just have people in businesses but we also have people that also have tech ideas trying to build up. So for that, we have people in the educational sector that do edutech. There's something called the edutech. So because we have been in the field of going into rural communities, the urban communities, we have that opportunity, putting ourselves together and saying this and this is what we have. We have the track record of this, we have the track record of that. So when they said apply, we put on our application,
Right.
went through the process, and like, okay, you're fit to speak to one or two mentees on your experience in the field, and it will help them, because it will help them going forward. So after that, we passed through the interview. I passed through the interview sections. I was nominated, and then we went for our onboarding. We are onboarded. After being onboarded, straight to Abuja for the selection process, which we did on Saturday. And then they give you your mentors, and then you interface with your mentors. Basically, that's just what it is.
Oh wow. Oh,
So you
that's
have quite a
interesting.
lot to share with us as far as that is concerned. But I'm sure we'll leave that for
Another day.
so why we just go straight into
Yes. So
topic
before we get
dealing-
straight into the topic, you know, today is the last Tuesday for this month of March. So next time we're going to be here to be in April. And guess what? We're still celebrating women. This is still our month. I mean, we're still in March, and that's why we even thought it, say, okay, let's invite Udoka because you're doing amazing. We see your works. Now you're a mentor, even in that big, field. So we are congratulating you. But just a quick one. Our theme this year, accelerate action. That's the theme. So what do you think that as women we should do in accelerating action to so many issues that is affecting us? Especially the period policy mentioned and the likes.
Okay, so this is it. I please forgive me. I was withdrawn to actually celebrate International Women's Day this year. I celebrate it a lot, but this year I was a little bit withdrawn because I felt like at a particular point we all need to sit back as women and ask ourselves, are we at that point to really celebrate? Yes, we have amazing women that are doing things that we should celebrate. Coupled with the fact that this year, period to the month of the International Women's Day, we had a very big blow from the Natasha side to the Akpabio side. So for me, it was, are we really accelerating that action here? Because I read something yesterday that says a woman will find it so difficult to give a fellow woman power. So for me, this year International Women's Day was more of questions. I was questioning our stand. What do we want to accelerate? In Nigeria, I want to be specific. What do we want to accelerate? So yes, there are a lot of women doing the work, but we still have the voice that is pulling us back with just a little 1 or 2, 3 actions we put there.
Okay.
I won't lie. So please forgive me.
No, there was no connect.
There was no connect for me this year. So
But what's a solution? Proper solution. I mean,
a solution.
Yeah.
For a solution for me, I think we really need to go back to the box.
okay.
The women that are accelerating it that are on point.
Okay.
Their voice more out there, because I know now we have a generation of young girls that are in need of guidance and want to move.
Okay.
These women with the right voices should always speak out, and we of women on social media should more of promote those women's orientation. Like you have Wasika, Ibiko and Wasika, because she created a page where she had to intentionally do it, where she brings out sections for young girls and she educates. We have Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. If they do something, they should not put in more of the negative orientation, like go to schools, teach these girls, build them, cop them, basically, than projecting more of the negativity on social media. It should just be reduced. So I think that's one of the conferences, programs for women, young girls, to put it on their face 24/7.
Okay.
I think all these.
All right, let's come home now. Home and dry. And the topic for today, it has to do with dealing with childhood trauma as an adult. Dealing with childhood trauma as an adult can be a challenging and emotional challenge. But it's a crucial step towards healing and recovery. I know in psychology that there's a particular topic that says adolescence is a period of storm and stress. Can you speak to this conversation quickly?
Okay. Gracefully, I studied counseling psychology, also known as guidance and counseling. So we have a particular course or program that says adolescence counseling. Now, childhood trauma is something that defines the adulthood of any individual. Whatever a person goes through when that person is small, from the parents, from the environment, from peer group, builds that child. So they say experiences makes us. Experiences is a lesson we all go through. Sorry, what was the question again? I think I dashed a little.
Yeah, I said adolescence is a period of storm and stress. Growing up, rather as an adolescent child into adult, how do you manage it?
Like I was speaking to someone before, I said children really don't have the ability to manage how to grow. It's a parent that teaches the child how to grow. You guide the child, the environment guide the child. So every child, from when they get to the ages of 10, they begin to, already self-aware. If you have a boy child, it's that period that child will tell you, mommy, either you knock, or that's the period the child will. So whatever you imbibe in that child as a parent, whatever environment you place that child in as a parent, is what the child will grow up with. If they, as parents, basically, because this period is more of the parent to the child, what you give to the child. You give your child too much pain, a home that is not settled. A child sees the father and the mother beats each other, fights each other. That child naturally will grow with that trauma. It's a trauma on its own that you can go out and you see a child is aggressive to another child. It is what the child has seen. It's a developing trauma. I saw a video one time where a boy, a secondary school boy, held another boy's neck. He was angry, and that child passed out. So when I looked at that video again, it's something that child is a trauma that child is going through at home, but he didn't have any place to express it. He took it to school and he expressed it on another student, and that child passed out. So moving from childhood to adulthood in trauma, whatever a child sees from home, or whatever a parent gives to the children from home, or whatever the environment gives to the child from small, is what it takes to adulthood.
Okay, so the thing is, why are we having this conversation? We find out that in our society, whether it's politics, in our career, in our workplace, in our economy, we find people who've experienced, childhood trauma coming and growing into adults and do not understand that they are being traumatized. They don't understand the experience they are having. They don't know why they're acting the way they are doing. And because they have not been able to deal with it, of course, you need to identify it before you start dealing with it. They grow and go into the society, and that's why we're having so many, ill-fated happenings in our society. Now, dealing with childhood trauma as an adult involves acknowledging first the past, seeking professional help, and building support system. But my big question is, what is trauma first off, and how do you identify what is trauma? For instance, you're in a workplace and then you're acting some kind of way and you don't know that is trauma, or you're being traumatized maybe growing up, and then you're acting the way you're doing because you have not dealt with that trauma. So first of all, let's even know what trauma is and how we can be able to identify a traumatized personality.
Okay, so just basically, I'll do it in the very simplest form. Trauma is anything that disturbs your emotional state, your psychological state, your mental state, your physical state. In fact, let me put it, your sight state. I will just put it some of that is trauma. Anything that takes you out of a place, your place of comfort, lined up reasoning is trauma. That is why you see a child that is used to a peaceful environment. The moment he wakes up or she wakes up, sorry, I'm always using a child because it's something that's very common in our society.
Right.
The moment he or she wakes up to see or to hear one day the father or the mother, and then you notice that there's this immediate shock and the child will withdraw. Automatically that child will sit down and start saying, what is this? What is happening? Why is this so? Or you have a child that wants to express. Every moment the mother or the father will say, shut up your mouth, keep quiet, you can't do it, can't you see? It takes that child aback.
Okay.
And the person now begins to think, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do it? Why is this person? You have removed that person from what is supposed to be normal to something. So when automatically that person grows up and he gets to an environment and you meet a boss that says to you, can't you see the way Chioma is doing it? It takes you back to, and then automatically you build your defense mechanism the way you did it when you were small. Either when you were small, the way you defended yourself was through violence or through abusive words. You now notice that as an adult, that is the way you begin to defend yourself. So you said recognizing. It's difficult for us to take ourselves back to the place of pain and accepting it. It's a very difficult thing. So basically for me, that is childhood trauma, and that is how.
So in dealing with it, how then do we deal with it? Because like I said, you have to identify it. Oh, this person is traumatized, and let's help this person. Or I am traumatized, let me help myself. Because whether we like it or not, the way we grew up, the way our parents, was hitting on us, and then all those words, abusive words, some use on us, it's affecting us. Just that when you're grown, you feel like, okay, I cannot pass this on to my own children, so let me not take this route, let me take a detour. And so In dealing with it now as an adult, what is the best way or methods that we need to deal with childhood trauma?
Dealing with childhood trauma, you said one, you answered one. The truth is, you have to first of all accept that this behavior is not right. Because at some particular point, even you that is traumatized will be like, this is not what I want. So the ability to understand that this is not right, you sit down and question yourself. Like for me, I've been traumatized in so many ways.
Okay.
And I had to sit back. You must see, for everything you must take responsibility. The first step of healing is taking responsibility for whatever has been done to you. So what I do is I sit down back and I take responsibility and accept the fact that this thing that happened to you, or this thing you saw, or this thing you witnessed, actually is not your fault, but it just happened to you.
Okay.
And so one of the ways is you accept it. Then I think also people or leaders in workplace need to understand that the way you grew up is not the same way another person did. So we need to get to that point where everybody put yourself together. If you notice that this person behaves in a way that is weird and struggling, or you call the person and be like, this is repeated, you need to fix this, you need to fix it. You keep doing that in silence, not doing it, because the more you do it publicly, the more you get someone that is aggressive. So the more you get someone that pushes, and at the end of the day, it's still, you're not helping the person. So everybody should get orientation. Workplace, office, bosses should know how to talk to employees. Employees, when it becomes too much, you go back home and accept it, and you deal with it one step at the other. Another thing I always tell people, you see, prayer and going back to the Holy Spirit, for everything, it still goes back to God, and it still goes back to prayer. So I think basically that's one of the ways.
Okay, so let's talk about the effects of trauma.
Effect of trauma.
Yes.
You can have traumatic experience can give you stress. You can have a very stressful person. It can be mentally challenging. It can give you a badly behaved individual. It can give you a withdrawn individual.
Okay.
So the effect of trauma is not a nice thing. It's bad. It's out pushing. It gives you a society where everybody is living loggerhead. I bite you. You know that thing they say, dog bite dog. So that's what we get. So I don't know. The effect is not
So
good.
do you think that some persons have not healed, especially in our political scene? You are a politician, whether you like it or not. So we see people, especially during campaigns, during election, and then you see people throwing tantrums on their fellow, what do they call them? Whatever.
Party members.
Not even party members. Their
Leaders.
opposition. Somebody you're contesting an election with, and the best way to campaign for yourself is to name call, is to throw tantrums where it's not, places that are not necessary. So that means they have not really healed.
No,
And that's what is affecting us.
No. See, politics is a very interesting game. I always tell people it's a thing of interest, right? And we are in a society whereby nobody has ever campaigned peacefully and won.
I think that they are traumatized.
It's not trauma.
So what do
No,
we
it's
call
not
them?
trauma.
What
It
then
is
do we
the
call it?
it is the pathway that has been laid. It's the pathway that has been laid, and that is why people are already used to it.
Okay.
For me, I remember I used to be a very peaceful person
You were. Your name is Peace now.
until I ventured into the political space, and it became a thing of everybody. But at a particular point, I'm like, I lost
Dog
my.
bite
The
dog.
thing is, because it's a way to get what you want, I have to insult you. I have to bite. It took me aback, and I'm like, this is not really my person. I had someone say to me, look at this, not you I know. You I know. Online is different from, because I'm fighting, I have to raise my voice. It actually made me traumatic. I had to go back to my shell. Yes, so It made me traumatic. I had to go back to my shame. I'm like, but this is not who I am. This is not my identity. But because I'm in a society where they have made politics to be a place where you have to insult this person, you have to show that I have insultive skill. And the truth is, people that are good in insulting, they picked it up from somewhere. It could be a form of defense mechanism.
Right.
You understand? So it's not, for me, is it trauma? It's just the way they have laid politics to be. Everybody insult yourself. Best insult wins the game. So that's how I see it.
Okay, so going through a traumatic process, you've kind of given us a panacea to recovery. Do you also say healing is possible alongside one has to be patient, kind to yourself, and also celebrating your strengths?
Yes. Healing is very possible for every traumatic process. Anybody that is traumatized, you can heal. And it is a very intentional thing. One of the things I do when I want to heal from a thing or an experience I don't like is to intentionally take myself away from that space. As much as you love that thing. See, a traumatic person is naturally drawn to traumatic environment. A traumatic, like for example, someone that enjoys, that has experienced too much negativity and has seen fighting as a defense mechanism, always enjoys being in a space where they are fighting. You just naturally will just enjoy being, so that you can see who has. So one of the things that person will have to intentionally do if you're tired is to take yourself an affirmation box I did for myself. So anytime I'm grateful for something that I have passed as a traumatic person, I write I'm grateful for this today. I squeeze it inside that box and I take it out. So when I'm depressed sometimes, or when I am aback sometimes, I go to that box, I open it, and I read those things I'm grateful for. All those things helps you to heal from a traumatic experience. But for children who are still going through it, what I usually do to them is I take out time to go speak to them, say, this thing is not your fault. I was with a young lady in a particular school, and she says, my mom doesn't like me. What can I do to make my mom like me? It was a very big thing for me, because this is just a child. So I had to first of all let her know that it's not your fault that your mom does not like you.
What did you try to ask her? Define your mom not liking you. What are the signs?
She says anything she does, her mom doesn't appreciate. When she moves, her mom insults her. So when I tried to find out, I found out that it was the way her mom bettered her. You understand? All those women that has children and you feel like, this child, if I didn't have this child, my life would have been better because the man is not present and all that. So she takes that trauma or pain from that and moves it to her daughter. So the first thing I say to all those children growing up, because there are a lot of them, I say to them, this is not your fault. That your dad is not also present is not your fault. So you first of all give that person the mindset to say, this situation is not my fault, but I refuse to live in the pain of this. So she said, how do I try to make my mom, when I want to do something for my mom, I say, you look at her mood. When she has switched into that mood, you just go afar. And the only thing you have to do is to either you pray or you open your book and read. Simple. Because you can't help your mother. What you have to do is for yourself, is to help yourself and know, because knowing first that it's not yourself, it's not your fault, is enough healing.
Is enough healing.
It's enough healing for you. And then from there you define what you want for yourself going further. So yeah.
And have you had success stories, from people who share their experiences for you? Because you are in the field trying to make people heal, trying to, make people see that, you can do this, you can do that. Mentoring people, especially young children, young girls. Yeah. So, what are your success stories, people that you've, mentored, and then they're looking at you that, okay, or looking at them that, okay, this one is going places.
Okay, so
this one has dealt with trauma.
I have one student from, what's the name of this school in town, by Izine. I used to follow her up then. I'm so grateful to God now. Her younger sister is in the same school. She's in Uniben studying now. Then I met her. When I met her, she was a very struggling child. to, because of family experiences and all that, she was struggling deeply. Her academics were something not to write home about. Now she's in the university studying law. So that's one of one of my biggest success story. I have 2 Western students. I saw one this morning and we gave ourselves a hug. She's in school now. She says to me, I can now concentrate to read, because one of them was a young girl that was abused from the ages of 6 years. So she's in school now. She can't read. She can't understand. They will tell you, I have a boyfriend, 14. You understand the craziness. And then I intentionally, she stays in my street. So when I see her intentionally, what did you achieve today? What did you pass today? And she'll be like, today I read this, and she was like, Ma, my first term I was able to remember reading. It's a success story for me, because that experience, most of these girls, it doesn't make them read. It doesn't. The only thing they're thinking about is, when next I get, or how. The only thing they think about is boys, men, clothes, phone, and all that. But for me to get a secondary or student say to me, I have moved past that stage, and I wrote an exam to pass. They're major success stories.
You're spoken so much. Recall. Is it that I also saw women come to the champion? They recall back. What's your take on that? Go right.
Okay, so I like to say this. In the beginning, there was a mistake. She's someone I love so much. Natasha. Senator Natasha. And honestly speaking, when I observe, because sometimes I watch their house processing, she and Akpabio were good. And at a particular point, my first red flag was when Akpabio said to her on the stage of the house, this is not a clubhouse. This is a Senate. That was I'm this kind of person that if I notice that as a man, you're trying to put me on a pedestal, I will correct it immediately. But there and there, when he said that to her, I will personally demand an apology immediately on the ground, forgetting that I will say, Mr. President, this is wrong on my identity, because first, that was an error. Now she let that pass. Got into the house, and some persons moved, probably we didn't understand. Some Nigerians didn't understand that some persons moved to APC. So in the normal law, there will be changing of sitting position and all that. So if she had known the law, or if she had read it, she will know that this thing is a normal process, that the Senate President has the right to say to anybody, move. And then he said to her, move from your seat. The only thing I saw was someone shouting and saying, you cannot silence my voice, you cannot do this. See, I said to people that a woman, that if you're in politics, men see you as their fellow men in politics. A man is not really seeing a woman in politics. He's seeing a man, because they know that if they see you as a woman, you have the ability to collect from them. So they are naturally seeing you as a fellow man. We go fight and log at it. So there and then, I felt like she did not understand that this, like I tell people, when I read that law of human nature, that she would have first of all questioned, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Why did they change my seat? And immediately retract. Now, in the house, she now said, for me, she said, we're going to go to this, and you went on national TV and said sexual allegation. Sorry, I'm going to where you say recall. And I was like, no. Because for me, that was the first wrong thing. If you're making a sexual allegation, some persons will say she's not supposed to put receipts online. I've watched CNN. As you are dropping your allegation, they are dropping receipts. I see it on CNN. I see it on international news. So you could have done that maybe to somebody in their Rice TV and said, this is a receipt. Till now, we are still struggling to see a receipt.
And what we're just hearing is words of,
till now, we are still struggling to see. Her lawyers are supposed to have come out. Someone's supposed to have come out to say, yes, there is this thing. So, and all this happened in this month of International Women's Day. That's why I said to you, what are we really accelerating? Now, you come out to hear the wife to saying, my husband is this and my husband is that, and you come out to see women saying recalling. If we had gone back, because there are women in power, a lot of women in power. If I had seen someone like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala come out to speak on this case, what's this lady's name that is in United Nations? Is it Zainab or something? Come out to speak, because she is in United Nations. What's that lady's name? If she had come out to just drop a word, it will help the younger generation to understand. But right now, I'm only seeing her voice, or I'm only hearing her voice. And it doesn't really make sense, because if they were received and she has women in it come out to speak, because at the end of the day, everybody has gone back to wait what happened, move it. Now you didn't understand that law. You left that tackling you're supposed to do and moved to the other part. Meanwhile, you've had antecedents of people accusing people of sexual harassment without receipts. So who will take you serious as a woman? So I think she placed. I'm a woman. Before I will say something to you, I always keep my receipts. So if she had that, it would be easier for these women on that level to come out and say, we don't have it.
No receipt.
Even those in the
sexual harassment doesn't come with receipt anyway.
It does, because before a man will harass you, let's leave that woman of her caliber. You cannot just tell me it's only physical harassment.
Anyway.
So we now have women shouting recall. We should also know that those ones are also politically sponsored.
That's it.
Because it's a thing of interest. Yahaya Bello has always been on her leg.
Right.
As far long as
so he wants to go back to the house.
Yes, because I remember what she did to him during his during the governorship election time.
Yes.
You know, he also wanted to go to the Senate. And she too was going for the Senate, coupled with the fact that Yahaya was installing his person. So it was a loggerhead. So now that there is this, it's a space to shoot and shoot and shoot. Now, Natasha has been a beautiful representative.
Yes.
She has done so much. Please forgive. Done so much for her people than the 3 people we have in the red chambers representing us in the other states. So I think she just missed it at that particular point. And I felt like
that's
the moment she did
I
it,
feel that she hasn't dealt with a particular trauma. Yes, now.
do you think so?
Yes, that's
No,
why.
I don't know.
That's what necessitated the ad buzz. Because yes, her points were valid, but did she channel it well? That's a big question. Was it appropriately channeled?
No, it wasn't. She had a good standing with, if she wanted to fight Akpabio, she had a very good stand point to fight that man. She would not even have used her own self as a sexual decision. She would go and, I would go and look for the girls.
Exactly,
You
not
understand?
herself.
Not myself. I
feel
would go that way.
She's too big. She's
Because
bigger
there are a
than.
lot of stories on him that way. Instead of me to put myself on the pedestal,
Right.
I would go that. Look at what they did to Donald Trump when they wanted to pick out. They go pick out your past experience and we'll move it that way.
Not using myself. I'm putting myself on the spotlight.
Okay.
Just
I'd
like
like
we're
to
having.
thank you so much, Ambassador. Because you're quite interviewers tonight.
Thank you.
Our time really is spent. We'll invite you again to have a stretch about this question. We'll talk to it again.
Thank
And I keep asking if you, why are you keeping all of this content without actually exploring? All right, Ambassador.
Udoka Anita Ikebua, the founder, Party Girl, and the Tony Elumelu Foundation newest mentor.
Thank you.
Welcome.
This is what we'll draw the curtains for today. Tomorrow yet is going to be another day. But before we start, we guys
Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time on your TV. I'm enjoying us to do this again next week, Tuesday, and that will be in April. On behalf of the crew this morning, my name is Ife Osita Olunwa. See you next month. Bye for now.
When you're low on energy and need a break, give yourself a treat. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Smooth. Crafted from cocoa, milk, and